If you're planning to take a cruise on the Carnival Freedom and you came here for information while researching your upcoming cruise, you came to the right place because I'm going to quickly share my experience with you from my recent Carnival Freedom cruise. The only problem is I'm not sure you're going to like everything I'm going to tell you. Hello, I'm Sharon from sharonatsea Travel, and thanks for joining me today. I recently traveled to Port Canaveral for a 4-night cruise on the Carnival Freedom with about 64 other ladies. That's right, I left the family at home for this one, and I'm kind of glad I did because traveling with all of these friends made the bad things about the cruise a lot better and made the good things great. So I want to thank all of those ladies because without them, I'm not sure how this cruise would have been. If you're not sure which Carnival ship is the Freedom, here's a quick way to know. Yes, she is the Carnival ship that is cruising around, missing her signature whale tail smokestack. Now, things started out great on Embarkation Day. It was a very smooth and quick process getting on the ship in Port Canaveral. We did embark at the older cruise terminal, Carnival's Terminal 6, and the terminal wasn't crowded when we boarded. We got on the ship before 11 a.m. and was able to check in at the muster station and explore the ship before lunch. So things started out great. I also got my checked bag pretty quickly, which made me very happy. I love to get my bags unpacked as soon as I can so I can relax and enjoy the rest of my day. Let me know in the comments below if you're one of those kind of people that just need to get things unpacked ASAP, or if you can live out of your suitcase for a day or so before finding a home for things. It was a typical Carnival sailaway party on the Lido deck, lots of dancing, and the cruise director did a great job. His name was Colin Sabada, I guess that's how you say it. I hope I got that right. I had never heard of him before. He seemed very young and maybe he was new, but he brought the usual sailaway energy and he got the party started. Now let's talk food. I know that Embarkation Day in the MDR can be a challenge for the crew, setting up for the new guests that are arriving and getting familiar with all the new guests' likes, dislikes, and all that stuff. But I do have to say it was probably one of the slowest and worst Embarkation Day main dining room experiences I have ever had. We had missing and forgotten items throughout the entire meal, things brought out randomly, and there were long wait times in between. That first night, our entire wait staff seemed to only include one guy. And I was thinking, okay, it's the first night, things will get better. Well, unfortunately, it really didn't. Our head waiter never introduced himself on night one, and he really never spoke on any other nights except when he was asking us what we wanted to order. No hello, good evening, how was your day? Just what can I get you? And the poor service continued over the next 3 nights. Although it was funny, the last night at the end of dinner, he came up and addressed the entire table, saying he hoped we had a great experience and was asking us to please remember to fill out the post-cruise surveys. I'm sorry to say my main dining room experience on the Carnival Freedom was one of the worst I have ever had. And like I mentioned earlier, thank God I was dining with some awesome ladies because their company made everything better. So that was my service. Now, as far as the quality of the food in the main dining room, I was pleasantly surprised. It was quite good for the most part. I would rate it a 7, which is a great score for Carnival. It was odd having such poor service while still being able to enjoy the food. While on the subject of food, let me touch base on a few other places I ate around the ship. I had one lunch in the buffet and ate every breakfast there as well. I did love that the one omelet station near the deli was never crowded in the morning when I stopped by, and I really loved that they also had other breakfast items there, so you didn't have to go back to the buffet and get in line once you got your omelet. I was able to get bacon, hash browns, and pancakes at the omelet station, and a real bonus for me was that the syrup was hot for my pancakes. That hardly ever happens. That's the first time in my 50+ Carnival cruises that I went to the omelet station and they had other breakfast items, and I loved that. I had lunch at the deli one day. That was a great choice. I always love the deli, and this time was no different. I had a turkey sandwich on a pretzel bun. That was awesome. I did have a guy's burger on Embarkation Day with no bun, and that was good. And on the other days, I ate off the ship at Half Moon Cay and Celebration Key, so that really didn't have to do with the Freedom. Now let's talk entertainment. I never actually went in to sit down for any of the theater shows because I've seen them on other ships, but I did enjoy the music in other parts of the ship. There was good music in the atrium as well as a small stage along the promenade near the casino, but the best entertainment I found was in the Red Frog pub. and the band there was fantastic. They were interactive with the audience and had everyone up dancing. Funny thing is, I asked what the name of the band was, and they didn't officially have one yet. I guess the band was just recently formed before our cruise, but I can tell you the lead singer, Rose, was awesome. Next, service overall was average at best. I already talked about the main dining room experience. No one really stood out or went above and beyond. The bar service was okay on the ship. The Alchemy bar was just okay. It was always busy, so drinks usually took a while. But the alchemists themselves didn't do anything that they usually do, like all the fun stuff you see on other ships. The Red Frog bartenders were pretty good, just also very busy every night. I saw our cabin steward on Embarkation Day, and she was pleasant. I requested a robe and a bucket of ice, and those items were there in my room after dinner on the first night. But I can't remember seeing her the rest of the cruise. I will say she did make up my room daily when I was out and about. I remember the time when the cabin stewards were much more engaging, but in the past few years, they have become so overworked that they don't seem to have time to engage with people anymore. One thing I do want to talk about, because this has happened twice now on our last 2 Carnival cruises, and that is the cleanliness of our cabin on Embarkation Day. The cabin stewards have so many cabins now that they struggle with them really getting them clean between sailings. If you watched our Conquest video over the summer, you may remember we found a dirty sock in our closet from our previous guest. Well, this time our fridge had something spoiled in it and all dried up, and also grapes laying in the fridge door. It was obviously never opened and checked between sailings. I'm not really trying to intentionally bash Carnival, because we have been cruising on Carnival for over 20 years, but I do have to say I have never experienced this on any other cruise line. Another thing I'd like to mention is that I wish that the drug-sniffing dogs would do a better job. Actually, the last 3 Carnival cruises smelled like people were walking up and down the halls, smoking pot. That's how bad it smelled at times. The Freedom was so bad, our cabin smelled on a daily basis. We knew our neighbors on both sides, so we knew it wasn't coming from next door on either side. So it must have been either coming from the deck below or possibly through the vents. I know marijuana is more common than it ever was, but for someone that doesn't partake, when the smell engulfs your cabin, it can be very off-putting, to say the least. As far as the overall condition of the Freedom, well, the first impression isn't good when it's missing its whale tail. But considering the fact that it's almost 20 years old, it still looks pretty good. Common areas were clean and they seem to be well kept. It is a mid-sized Conquest class ship that holds just under 3,000 passengers. Although I felt like the staff appeared overworked at times, this Freedom is still in pretty good shape. Now I want to touch base on a couple other things which turned out to be great on the ship. One thing was the adults-only Serenity area. I really love that there were several large sofas and chairs in a shaded area for large groups and families. We were able to use this area for our group of ladies so we could sit there and have morning mimosas, and we really enjoyed it. The other thing that I really enjoyed was the casino. Now, it was full most nights, which is typical for Carnival, but I was always able to find a slot machine or a place at the roulette table each night. Also, I'm a non-smoker, and I found the smoke smell to be minimal. Now, maybe the ventilation in the casino was just that good, or maybe there was just light smokers on this cruise. But I was glad that I didn't have to come back to my cabin each night and have to put my clothes out on the balcony to air out. I wasn't a big winner, but I really enjoyed the casino experience on the Freedom. Finally, debarkation. Getting off the ship is always sad, but I actually had a great debarkation experience. First, I got off quickly carrying my own luggage, so that was great. Then I did something that I have never done before, and that is to take a Carnival transfer shuttle from the port to the airport. The process was so smooth. We walked off the ship, went through customs, walked outside the doors, and the bus was right there. We walked on. Within 15 minutes, the bus was loaded up, and we were on our way to the airport. So if you are ever unsure about trying something for the first time, do it. It may turn out to be the best experience ever. I don't know if this is something that I'll do all the time, because traveling with a family, it isn't really as cost effective, but since I was traveling solo, it turned out to be the perfect option. Overall, I enjoyed my cruise. The Freedom had its ups and downs, and if I'm being 100% honest, my last few Carnival cruises have been pretty bumpy. But I'm the kind of person that will make the best out of any situation. So yes, I had a great time, but I have to say mostly because there was a great group of ladies and we enjoyed hanging out together the whole time. Thanks, ladies. Hope you enjoyed my review of the Carnival Freedom. If you did, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out more of our videos here on YouTube. If you've sailed on the Freedom recently, remember to leave your thoughts in the comment below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.